Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me in this interview of Robin Hand. We're going to be talking about the sacred money archetype work that she does, and hopefully, you're going to learn more about where you fall in that range so you can get more clarity on what your sacred money archetype is. And that can really free you from a lot of unconscious blocks that you may be having. So, welcome to the money month of May and the first interview in that with Robin Hand. Hey Robin, how are you?
Hi, Rachel. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. So, I met Robin last week and we're in a mastermind community together. And it's the second time that I had heard the sacred money archetype work. And I got really interested, and I actually had a session with Robin that I'll tell you about a little bit later. But Robin, why don't you tell us about, what you do, who you are, and what got you into this work?
I would love to. I work with women, primarily women entrepreneurs, who are sick and tired of feeling out of control and guilty about money, whether it's because they're overspending or they're avoiding money, or maybe they're just guilty and feeling restricted about money, or maybe they don't charge enough, like they don't value themselves. But it's all this money stuff that can come up, and it gets in our way in our business and in our life in every way. So that is what I am focusing on. Where I came from was I have a counseling background, and mostly in relationship work. And what attracted me to the sacred money archetypes is that it is such a tangible way to really see how we interact. And it's kind of objective, especially with the archetypes, because it's kind of like, oh, that's my archetype doing that. And it's easier to change behaviors when there's a little bit of objectivity about it. So that's what I'm focusing on right now and really loving it. It's helping women a lot with their money.
What you said about having it be objective, that really makes a lot of sense. Because then it's not like there's something wrong with me. It's that
Right.
there's this pattern, but it's not really me. It's out here, and I can change it. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's easier to look at that way, and it's fun. It's fun to do it. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
So, do you have a story about how you were transformed by this work? Or were you already pretty aware of your money story when you got started?
I had I have major money issues from my family, and I was not aware that it was bothering, how it was affecting me, and I never would have guessed. But I just had this haunting feeling, and when I was exposed to it, I just had to think in my mind, I know my money history with my extended family, and I know that there's got to be stuff that's affecting me now. So it was really just kind of a leap of faith, and just kind of a knowing that I I know there's stuff that I don't know, and I don't like that. And since I was really challenged in creating money in my business, um, that was an extra motivation for me.
Mm-hmm. And so, how did learning your archetypes help you make more money or create more money?
Well, it's interesting because my family, certain members of my family were really heavy into certain archetypes. I mean, I see it that way now, but there was a lot of focus on money. And so my reaction, because I'm more of a humanitarian type person and I'm very idealistic, and so I had kind of a love-hate relationship with money. And I felt like it's kind of guilty about charging for anything that was relationship oriented, because it almost seemed like I should do that for free because that's what a friend would do or something. I don't know. It was just this resistance, and it caused, and it was also my, you know, it affected my self-esteem too, because then if you don't feel like you, it was just this resistance going on, and I couldn't make everything work the way it's supposed to in my business.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. And most of the people that I work with, and you know, me in the past, we're the same way. It's like, you know, you're not supposed to charge for spiritual work. You're supposed to give it away. You're not supposed to charge for healing work. You're supposed to give it away. Like, you're a bad person if you make money off of that. And that's what we're shedding. You know, we're dealing with that because we're a business. We're supposed to make money, but you know, it's almost like you're a bad person if you charge.
Right. It felt kind of bad. I felt a little guilty. But, you know, I've learned, I can just share, because I'm sure that there's people listening who have that. But, you know, what really helped me was understanding that if I didn't make money doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't be able to impact as many people. I wouldn't be able to do the work, and I wouldn't be able to impact people. And when I realized that, I saw, I need to change this mindset. So that was one of the things that, even without that's not specifically a money archetype thing. That's just a mindset thing that really helped me with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. If you can't pay your rent, then you're not going to be able to help thousands of people if you can't keep a roof over your head.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. So that's a huge journey to go on, you know? I mean, there's a lot of aha moments that have to happen to go from feeling like you're a bad person for charging to having a business that is sustainable.
That's very true. And the way that it helped with the money archetypes, and by the way, I see different groups, especially those that are focused around spiritual and healing things, that most of the people have their top archetypes are either alchemist or nurturer. And both of those archetypes have difficulty with that. The nurturer tends to want to give, but then eventually feels resentful and used by other people, and that's what happens to the nurturer a lot of times. And the alchemist is into ideas and loves the movement and the excitement of the movement and creating programs, but then when it comes down to bringing it into a form and actually making money with it, that is a challenge to an alchemist. And that's what I see in, you know, a lot of my yoga friends and spiritual friends. They have that archetype too. I could just tell. So anyway, yeah, we have a love-hate relationship with money is what it comes down to. But it can heal. It's very possible to do that.
Yeah. So this may be too big of a question, but so say you have a session with someone and they understand their archetypes, like what we did. Now, if you want to be more balanced or to overcome something, are you able to give them that advice of how to do that, or what do you help them with?
What I help them with is to discover themselves. Usually they know what they should do, but it's just asking the right questions. So there's 18 different exercises. They're all experiential exercises within the program. So I can really choose which ones are going to be most appropriate for that particular person. And then walking through those experiences together, the client comes to the conclusions when I ask the right questions. And so it's really kind of amazing how quick and easy it happens. And it's a big shift. So it's not like, you know, when a big shift happens, it's easy to set new behaviors.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. It's not that you don't ever feel the tugs anymore. It's just that you've had such a big shift that the tugs aren't, it's not like an undertow pulling you under anymore. Now you can still swim, even though you feel the tug of it.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, you know, it's just not there anymore because it's, you create the new behaviors and habits, and it changes your life.
So you can stay in the same archetype. Like if you're a nurturer, you don't have to be afraid that you can't be a nurturer anymore. It's just that you develop boundaries to help you become more balanced and not resentful, and that's that kind of thing.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you said that too, because it doesn't change who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It just changes your focus, and you're aware of the conflict, because every nurturer knows that they're in conflict a lot of the time because they want so much to give. And that's actually one of my top archetypes. And so I totally know that story so well. But the nurture has strengths as well as challenges. So with all of the archetypes, it's a matter of choosing. First, you know what your top ones are because you've done a reading. And then we work together to help balance those and align those. And you can draw on the strengths of certain ones. Normally, it's kind of like muscles in our body where we have overworked muscles, and then some that are kind of weak because they just don't get worked out very much. So it teaches you to work those weaker muscles and develop parts of yourself that you probably really, there's a part of you that really wants to come out, but maybe because of cultural reasons or whatever, it hasn't been able to express.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate to that because I'll get into my experience with you now. So, Robin and I had an assessment last week, and she told me what my top 3 archetypes are. So my top 3 archetypes were romantic, celebrity, and connector. And what Robin was telling me is that I'm not into like saving and accumulating stuff. I'm pretty generous. And so I have this tendency of like, no matter how much money I make, it just kind of goes out. It's like not structured in any way. And that is absolutely true. I mean, I've never been a saver. I've always had enough, and I've always spent it, I've saved a little bit for big trips or a car or whatever, and then spent it and had a great time, and knowing that it's always going to be there. Like optimism was a big thing with me. Of just knowing it's always going to flow. Don't have to worry about it. So it was right on, like couldn't be more correct. And she gave me these good suggestions of not feeling like I need to be the best financial person in the world. Hire an accountant, have someone else do it for me so that I can just do my thing, that the finances are always taken care of, and I don't have to feel guilty about that not being my strong suit. So that was perfect. And I know there are a lot of women out there who start to make money in their business and they spend it all, and then they feel really bad. And so...
Yeah, and it can be really tough because they might not be saving up for their taxes, and then at the end of the year, they get hit with taxes, and that happened to one of my clients, and well, she's actually not my client yet because she can't afford to come to me yet. But, she knows how to make money. It's not that. So it's great. It's great for people with romantic in their archetypes, because then to have that permission to say, I need an accountability person on my team who can tell me how much and then you have access to the money that you can spend, and you're not going to be blindsided. And that's a good feeling because a business is a responsibility. So
Yeah. And there are so many rules. There's so many rules in business, and you can't mix your personal finances with your business finances and all this stuff that just I know most of us don't really feel like dealing with. And so by
mhm.
getting another person on board, then that's just going to solve my whole problem. So I'm kind of like the opposite of a lot of people who, they can't make a cent. Like I've been there too, where I just like tried and tried and tried, and I just couldn't make anything flow. And a lot of that had to do with me not setting boundaries and giving all my service away. And so you must see everything, you know?
It is really interesting. Now, I do see certain ones more than others. I see a lot of nurture in women. I don't see the maverick as often. The maverick is that inner rebel with a cause, and the maverick is the one who will take big risks, but also has big losses sometimes. But they're typically really good with money and, good with structuring deals and things like that. But just the risk aspect is an issue for them. So, they need to balance that out, and it's an awareness and a balancing out with other things in their archetype, other pieces of themselves that they can do, or to hire someone, whatever it takes, but it just helps you to know what you need to do.
Yeah, that's great. Is there any other archetype that you don't see that often?
Let's see. That's probably the least. I see a lot of accumulator. Accumulators are really good at saving money, but they have a hard time spending money and often feel guilty about spending money, and maybe don't invest in their business. That's one of the things that happens with accumulators. Connectors are, you have connector, right?
Yeah.
That's one of your top ones. And connectors are really good with others. They love to be with others. And the challenge for the connector is that they care more about the relationship than about making money. Yeah. So it's just a mindset usually for connectors. They come around pretty easily when it's just kind of like, okay, this is business and we need to focus on this. But, they have a great time with people, and that's a wonderful business skill. So it can be used that way. It's just, you have to be careful with it. And let's see, the celebrity is a lot of fun, because the celebrity likes to be in front of people, and you have celebrity and you're interviewing me. My last one is celebrity. So I wouldn't be the one. I mean, that would really be a stretch for me to be the one initiating, and someday I think I'll do that. But the celebrity is something I have to draw on I have to be very conscious about it. Whereas for you, it comes really naturally and it's fun. But celebrities have to worry about, sometimes they overspend and end up having, I don't say this is you, because sometimes they will spend to make themselves look great in front of other people.
Yeah. But
they also will sometimes really help other people look great. So that's there's challenges and there's great things, because celebrities can help their business partners along, and they can also other people want to work with them and support them. So that's a really good thing about celebrities.
That's a cool title to have too.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't want to be a celebrity? Well, believe it or not, a lot of people don't.
Yeah, the people who don't have that one on top probably don't. They're like,
Yeah,
no.
they're like, oh, that's ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know if we've named all of them. I'm trying to think.
I don't know, but I really like how there's just so much like less guilt after you know and can just see that you don't have to be everything. I
Exactly.
mean, I work with a lot of people who are introverts
Hmm.
and who like you, they don't want to do videos all the time. They don't want to like be out in front and have lights and show up in like that way and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there are avenues of expanding your business for everybody, you know?
Exactly. And it's really knowing and accepting who you are and working with your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's certain challenges to overcome, just doing it in a loving way,
Mm-hmm.
doing it in an accepting way, because if we're putting ourselves down about that, that's only going to make it worse.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. There's a comedian named Kyle Cease, and he teaches comedians how to be funnier. He's got a boot camp, or at least he did. And he just says, like, if you're the awkward person sitting in the back, fumbling with your phone, you know, and you go up on stage, be the same person, you know, because you're going to be funny if you just accept your awkwardness and you're fumbling around. If you try to then be someone else, be professional, be sparkly, be the celebrity, it's not going to work, you know. But as long as you're yourself, even if you don't feel like you belong on stage or you don't belong on video or you don't belong wherever you find yourself, you know, just be yourself, and that's really what people are going to connect with. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's great advice.
Mm-hmm. People just want real, you know.
Exactly. And, you're not going to attract everybody. You're only going to attract the people that you attract. And those are the ones you want to have around you. So it works out perfectly.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So you have some free gifts for us.
I do.
Thank you for sharing them with us, by the way. Would you tell
Oh,
us
my pleasure.
about your 7 days to positivity? Is that one of them?
Yes, on my website, I have a complimentary subscription that it really focuses on building self-worth by helping you to see the good things that you're doing every day and setting your intention. And you can get it by going to my website. My company's name is Energized Perspectives. So that's EnergizedPerspectives.com. And on just about every page you can opt in by putting in your email, and I won't spam you. So I don't sell it or anything like that. I take good care of it. And then also, if someone is interested in getting a reading, I have a very simple application. And the application really helps me know whether it's going to be helpful to get the reading. And that is on the same website, only at the end, if you put in a /money at the end of energizedperspectives.com/money. Or you can get there from the main page. It says soulful money. I can't remember the exact words. But
That's all right. I'll
anyway,
put the links on the screen for
you'll
them
see
too.
it. You'll see it. Yeah, it'll be pretty obvious. So just fill that in, and then I will get back to you. I'll send you an assessment through email, and you can find out, just like Rachel did, what your archetypes are.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was definitely kind of cool just to get to know a little bit more about me and how I deal with money and to know that where I am right now with not really knowing exactly how to deal with my finances, it was okay for me, you know. And I've been thinking about getting an accountant, and she really just validated that was a really good decision. So it's definitely worth the time it takes to fill out the little application and meet with her. So it was fun.
Thank you, Rachel. I enjoyed working with you on that too.
Yeah. So this seems perfect, like this work for you, because you're a counselor. You're well-rounded, you know, in what you offer people, and your phone manner was really great, and I could tell that you really cared. And that's nice too, because I've had some sessions where you tell the person just isn't into it, you know. And I definitely did not get that vibe from you. So do you find that like was a synchronicity, and you know you had this counseling background and you found the money piece and that worked well for you?
Yeah, it's funny because I never would have thought that I would end up doing that. And one of the kind of funny things that I'll share about my money legacy is that in my family, the men were in control of the money. And I always kind of felt like I was viewed as irresponsible, even though I was really responsible with money and I had good ideas, but it wasn't the same ideas. And so, you know, it was kind of like invest in stocks. That's the only way. So it's really fun for me now to be the money expert.
Yeah.
Yes. And I never would have expected it, but I'm having a whole lot of fun with that fact. It's just too ironic.
Yeah. That's an interesting piece about the responsibility. I feel that too. You know, as far as I can see back in my lineage, it was always the men who had the real job, and then sometimes like the women would have a part-time job, but it was mostly just considered insignificant. You know, my grandma was a crafter, and that was like a creative thing. My mom had lots of little part-time jobs, like she was a school bus driver for a little while and a Tupperware lady. And you know, I definitely feel growing up that affected me, and I always felt like no matter how big my income was, it would be second, you know. So that's more clarity there from you.
Well, and I think that what you're expressing and talking about, that's part of our cultural legacy, because we see things in our own homes, but also there's the cultural reality that women are still paid less than men, significantly less than men. And that's kind of like the underlying passion for me is women's empowerment financially, because I believe that women really, when they step into their financial power, that's going to change a lot. I think it changes a lot individually and globally. I am expecting big changes. So I concentrate on women entrepreneurs, although that's not the only people that it's just where I can't focus. But women entrepreneurs are typically, they're not even trying to deal with that corporate glass ceiling anymore, but they're dealing with their own personal glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And so this really helps with that too.
That's great. Yeah, T. Harv Eker. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He did it's something with the millionaire mindset, the millionaire something. I'm so sorry that I forget this. Just blame it on the allergies. But anyway, T. Harv Eker is he has a Peak Potentials training company. He's really well known. He says that this is one of the most important pieces to figure out before you can really expect to make a lot of money. Because if you don't have this, what he calls your blueprint reset, you know, where you have clarity on your archetype and you kind of get conscious about it, then you can't really move forward because all of those blocks are still in you, you know. So
yes,
getting that clarity is key.
I completely agree. And you know, part of it is that when you're in avoidance mode, you really don't know what your financial net worth is. and you don't really know what you're capable of, even, because if you're avoiding the negative parts of it, or the perceived negative parts, you're also avoiding the good stuff about it. So that level, that new level of awareness helps. Oh my gosh, I could do more than this, or it helps to be able to feel empowered to do more, and then to learn how to build wealth and to invest in oneself, and also in causes that are really important to you. So it helps you to be much more just being willing to look at it. So it's well worth the journey, and it's not materialistic to do that.
Yeah.
Even though, I used to think that focusing on money would be only materialistic people did that, but we all need to do it, and it's very helpful to us and to the rest of the world when we do it. The thing is that we see in the world that money is a magnifier, and oftentimes the people who are not doing good things with money and how that impacts people, that's what shows up on the news. So we get the idea that it's money, but it's really that person, and then money magnifying their personal flaws. So if you think of it that way, if you're coming from it from a really caring and heart-centered place, and that is magnified, then that's all good for the world. So that's definitely not materialistic.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, I've seen so many wealthy female entrepreneurs give so much of their money to charity and build schools and, save the rainforest. And
yeah,
it's really, really inspiring. It's really amazing. I think a big piece of it is the self-worth thing. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of personal things to overcome when you start making money. But once you get over that little hurdle of getting, you're comfortable, you can pay your bills, you're not going to go hungry, you don't, have fear of paying your rent. Once that's gone, then, and you're doing it on your own, and you're doing it with your business, the feeling of freedom is just unbelievable. And then you can decide what you want to do with it. Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to save the rainforest? Like, you can do all of that, and it's definitely nice.
Definitely. And that brings up one other point that I think is really important, and that is that women have traditionally been the ones that gave the most to charitable causes. And even recently in Huffington Post, I saw that 70% of the charity was given by women. So if you think about that, women had less income and they're giving 70% of the charity. If we can up their income, that's also upping the giving automatically, just because women are giving.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just from my personal experience, I've always given to the extent that I could, whether it was $15, because that's all I had left over, or whatever. It normally hasn't been that much more than that in the past. $15 here and there, $25, giving clothes when I can, and that's when I didn't have a lot of extra money, or no extra money at all. And so now that there's more than enough, it's going to be that much easier to write bigger checks, to help out more. It's definitely true that it's just a magnifier. However you were before is just how you're going to be with more money. Money's not really the big scary thing. It's actually just getting to know yourself. It's this personal journey of awakening that's money is a part of, and it's pretty fun.
So very well put.
Yeah. Well, Robin, this has been an amazing conversation. I really enjoyed talking with you.
I really enjoyed talking with you, Rachel. Thank you so much for just inviting me.
You're welcome. And definitely people go check out her free gift and you fill out the application to get the reading with her. It's definitely worth it. Even if it, just for the clarity of your archetypes. Because, like I said, it was nice validation for me and good to know that I didn't have to do it all by myself. And, you know, it's such a relief. You know?
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the right track anyway.
I was.
But
I'm
it's nice to have the confirmation.
But it is. It's nice to hear it from someone else too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from you a bit more.
Yeah, I'll look forward to our next conversation.
Me too.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.